Understanding the halo theme from the perspective of a classical musician. Why does the music feel so ancient and captivating? How would a medieval scholar of the past analyze such a theme? What would the halo theme look like on a historically accurate manuscript? Hi, I'm Abby, a classically trained violinist who is extremely interested in pushing the borders of genres where classical music and other styles overlap. And I've been obsessing over every detail in the process of how these tunes and sounds come to life. And I thought I'd share with you some of my discoveries about one of the most iconic video game themes ever. Halo. Did you know that if Paul McCartney and a Gregorian monk had a baby, it would sing the Halo theme? I'm serious. The Halo theme was invented in 30 minutes during a car ride where Martin O'Donnell spontaneously thought of Yesterday by the Beatles and Gregorian Chant and decided to mix them together.
So I was driving over to Mike's house because we were back in the basement. Our studio had burned and we'd lost a lot of stuff. As I was driving, I was thinking, well, I got to do a good hooky melody. Yesterday, all my troubles seem so far away. So I was like, yesterday, da 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 da. I actually decided to do a monk scale, which is Dorian. So all my troubles seem so far away. Ah, da 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 da. Ah, because I thought, well, if I have one high point, one low point, do 4 irregular phrases, but still do a legitimate monk chant melody, maybe it'll have legs.
So, what is it that makes the Halo theme sound ancient, epic, even divine? To understand this, let's start by exploring the exquisite art form of Gregorian chant. What is Gregorian chant? Gregorian chant is the central tradition of Western plain chant. It is monophonic, or having one voice. It is an unaccompanied sacred song of the Roman Catholic Church. The text is typically written in Latin, though sometimes they use Greek as well. The chant mainly developed in Western and Central Europe during the 9th and 10th centuries. Meanwhile, up in the north, the Scots were making poetic diss tracks, including the earliest recorded use of the word shit. Anyways, back to Gregorian chant. Medieval legends say that the origin of the Gregorian chant was in the form of a dove, the Holy Spirit, who whispered the tunes in Pope Gregory the Great's ear, who then passed the song down to a scribe that notated them. This divine simplicity was the common thread of belief that made these chants so special and contagious. It was the before human, beyond human nature of the music that really touched people. Whether historically accurate or not, this sacred awakening led to one of the most inspired advancements and prolific progress in the history of Western musical practice. What started as just one melody sung by a choir of men turned into a melody plus an interesting counter melody, which turned into an entire inspired composition bursting with multiple, intertwining yet complementary voices. This era of spiritual inspiration was so successful that even the music you hear today, the basic ideas of harmony and scales and modes and counterpoint and polyphony. Much of it is based on many of the innovations made during this Gregorian era. And even listening to Gregorian chants today, you can really feel a certain pureness and timelessness of a bygone era that somehow still feels relevant now. I mean, these chants are still widely sung in many churches and special events today. Traditionally, these chants were transmitted orally, through singing, though around the 9th century, neumes were used as aids for helping the choir remember the melody. I know you're thinking the same thing. What would the halo theme look like in shorthand, mnemonic? Well, you're in luck because I tried to notate it. Alright, well now we just gotta make it look withered and old. Since the halo theme was born from a modern band, which is to classical musicians, any band alive past the 19th century, and a vintage band, Gregorian choirs, I tried to analyze the halo theme through the lens of both modern Western music theory and Gregorian music theory. You might notice that the halo theme feels free, even improvisatory. Well, all sacred music during this era was rhythmically free, with no measure numbers and no bar lines. Let's take a look at the traditional Gregorian system used during the time, the 8th to 16th centuries. There were 4 pairs of modes, making 8 total. Each pair had an authentic mode, Dorian, Phrygian, Lydian, and Mixolydian, and its mirror, the plagal mode, which is basically the exact same scale, but its root starts a 4th below the authentic mode's root. Hypodorian, Hypophrygian, Hypolydian, and Hypomixolydian. Instead of generic major or minor scales, it used these modes, though it was in this era that the major and minor modes began to solidify the happy and sad connotations that major and minor scales evoke today. With Gregorian chant musical analysis, we start by identifying the music's final, co-final or dominant, and ambitus. These notes are like resting points for the chant melody. The final is basically like modern music's tonic, or a note that serves as the music's home or tonal center. However, there is a subtle difference. In Gregorian chant, the final is usually just the last note of a chant. In the case of the halo theme, the final would be E. The co-final is akin to modern music's dominant note, an important, unstable tension note that wants to resolve back to the tonic. Again, there is a subtle difference here. The Gregorian co-final isn't always a 5th above the tonic, but rather just an additional important resting point of the melody. Here, the co-final is B. The ambitus, Latin for enclosure, is a little more interesting. It is the pitch range of the melody from the lowest note to the highest note. In Gregorian chant, the ambitus was used as a guideline for composers so that a choir could comfortably sing a melody without excessive vocal strain. It helped the performers maintain a sense of unity and contemplation by allowing vocal ease. We see here that the halo theme has a pluperfect ambitus of B to D. Pluperfect just means that the ambitus range is larger than an octave. Now that we have identified the final, cofinal, and ambitus, let's figure out if this is an authentic or plagal mode. The theme appears to be in a plagal Hypodorian mode on E. Hypodorian in modern music theory is really just the Aeolian scale, or the natural minor scale, if you think of the root as B instead of E. Now, this is where music theorists' eyes light up and they start thirsting for blood. A modern music theorist might debate that the halo theme is just in plain old Dorian, which Martin O'Donnell actually confirms, since in modern music theory, the mode isn't determined by the lowest note. The nerdy Gregorian scholar would probably argue it is in a Hypodorian mode,
since in Dorian, the cofinal would be a fifth above the final, which is B. But if it was Hypodorian, the cofinal would be G, which it does lightly touch on a few times. However, the G doesn't feel as important as the B. It seems like in this case, the cofinal is B, making the case for Dorian. Also, maybe we shouldn't even try to analyze it in the lens of Gregorian music theory, because, it was made in the modern period, it was Gregorian chant inspired, but with modern musical accompaniment.
Uh-oh. Now we're starting to run around in theoretical circles, the music theorist's favorite activity.